Right, Jimmy, 21 years now since you signed for Cheltenham, and I'm sure it's gone very quickly, but can you cast your mind back to when you had a purple patch for Salisbury, didn't you? Scored a load of goals, and then Cheltenham came in. How did the move actually come about to join Cheltenham in the first place?
I joined Salisbury from Torquay United, basically, and I was there for about a year at Salisbury under Jeff Butler. Scored quite a few goals. Won the Golden Boot that year, and went back the following year. Scored a few more goals, and interest obviously from Cheltenham had basically come about. So initially I went on loan in February. My first game was due to be Gateshead away, but I was lucky enough to miss that. But unfortunately the next game was Barrow and Furness. So yeah, I came on loan. I think about 4 games on loan. Scored a couple of goals against Slough, and then obviously Cheltenham bought me in I think it was in March, April, for a fee of about £5,000, which was a lot of money 20 years ago. So yeah, that year we got relegated, and we kind of dropped into the conference, into the Easter Homes or whatever like that was in. And I stayed for the remainder of most of my career.
Yeah, when you first came in, it was the only time you really struggled, wasn't it, that season? After that, you were pretty much up there challenging for promotion from the Southern League and then from the conference. So you look back on pretty much constant success, and you scored pretty regularly all the way through as well, didn't you?
Yeah, the team that we had in the kind of conference, when we went down, it kind of split up. A lot of players kind of split up or moved positions or moved out. So it was normally ourselves and Dover for the first couple of years in the Southern League, but we had a really good side in, and I was fortunate enough to play with some really inventive midfield players, Archie Hills, there's other names I can't remember, Mark Boyle, and players like that. But yeah, it was the chances were galore, and it was just really my job to put them away, which I was fortunate enough to do for a long time.
Yeah, only one man scored more goals for Cheltenham than you have, Dave Lewis, and so I think you got over 120. And do you remember many of them? And what's your memory like? You remember some of your best goals, and or do they all sort of blend into one?
Yeah, I think when I left, I think I was 131 goals in 230 games. But there's lots of those people always say, it must have been a long shot or it must have been that. But you get as much enjoyment out of a tap-in. As long as it goes over that line, it doesn't matter. The celebration's the same. The heart beats faster, and it's the same thing. But I think the one that stands out would probably be the one at Weymouth in the FA Cup. Where I've hit a kind of left foot half volley, and it's kind of like nestled in the net and like broke the net. Gone back, the net's not secure, and so. But yeah, it was really good. I remember that goal, and goals against Gloucester were always quite sweet. I think one that stands out is when we beat them 5-1.
Yep.
I scored there. But yeah, I don't think there's any specific goal other than probably the Weymouth one. I always look back and think, well, that was a really good strike.
Yeah, you were on free kick duty a lot of the time when you used to curl a few of them in, and also penalties. I think you only missed one for Cheltenham, is that right?
Yeah, I was on penalty duties. I used to basically go the same side more or less. The older I got, the more nervous I got, so I changed it and went down the middle. But yeah, free kicks, it was always myself, probably Lee Howells. I scored a few free kicks, I think a couple against Hendersford. But yeah, it's just confidence on free kicks. If you feel confident in the game, then why not have a goal?
Yeah, and you played up front with you forged some good partnerships up front, didn't you? You mentioned Martin Boyle and Jason Eaton. What was it like playing up front with them? Because you both used to sort of chip in with over 20, didn't you?
Yeah, when I first came, it was Martin Boyle, and we'd obviously signed Jason Eaton, and me and Jason obviously kind of joined a formidable partnership, and Martin was there as well, so we had 3 really good strikers. But yeah, Jason was, he was a totally different player to me. He was more of a link-up player. He was much stronger. But I've always joked with him, I carried him for a long time. But yeah, no, he was a good player. But we keep in touch. But yeah, there were some really good players there.
Yeah, you mentioned the Weymouth goal, maybe, and a lot of other good ones. But any particular games stand out that you played in? Because you were involved in the FA Trophy run, and you came on at Wembley, and then obviously the season after you won the conference. But you were sort of playing out wide a bit then, weren't you?
Yeah, the FA Trophy was quite a strange one because I played quite a lot of games on the kind of right midfield, which any player will tell you. A lot of forward players kind of drop into midfield because of. But yeah, the FA Trophy. I mean, that stands out. I mean, to come on and win the free kick that wins a goal. It would be a highlight of anybody's career, in a game. But yeah, we had some fantastic FA Cup runs, against Peterborough, where we took Peterborough to a replay, and I think Jamie Victory was inches away from, securing a win for us there. But any FA Cup run, it always has a buzz. It's a buzz for the place, a buzz for the town. So yeah, they're kind of highlights that stand out on the games wise.
Yeah, when you look back, Lindsay Parsons always had a good team, but he couldn't quite get the job finished, could you? What did Cottrell do? What do you remember him? How did he manage to turn it around and make 3 promotions in 5 years?
I think Lindsay left, and we had a few managers after that. We had like Chris Robinson who came in, but Steve was totally different, and he then went out and signed some players from Hereford, Neil Grayson, Dave Norton, Richard Walker, to name a few, and it bolstered the squad with a lot more strength. And I think the squad we had previous to that was very thin. And obviously when Steve came, he recognised that, bolstered the squad, and added a bit more quality, a bit more pace, a bit more strength, and it paid dividends. 3 promotions in 5 years, FA Trophy, conference winners. They were really good times, and we had a really good squad. Camaraderie was second to none, and that was a really good team.
Yeah, and you played in the Football League very early age for Torquay, but it just came a little bit late for you, didn't it, the second time when Cheltenham went up? What was that like, leaving as they went up into the league?
Yeah, I mean, I think, from there was numerous players who left. Myself, Jason Eaton left, obviously Dave Norton couldn't play because he obviously had taken a pension. So yeah, there's mixed emotions, but at the end of the day, it's about the club. And it wasn't just about me, I was like 29, 30. So playing in Football League, I would have to give up my job, full-time job. So I wasn't really prepared to do that. And the club were honest with me, they weren't going to offer me a contract after my year's contract anyway. So I wasn't the only one, but yeah, it was mixed emotions.
Yeah, so you could have had a year if you wanted to give up your job and everything, but they probably said that was going to be it.
Yeah, well, I had a year left on my contract. Anyway, so obviously playing Football League, you've got to sign Football League papers. It's slightly different. And we spoke with Steve, and it's probably in the best interest, that the club were prepared to give me a free transfer, which was very good of them. And I went and signed for Gloucester for a year, and played obviously in non-league again.
Yeah, what was it like playing for Gloucester after playing in so many derbies for Cheltenham against them? And what was that like? Yeah,
it's different. I have to say it's different. Obviously, being in Cheltenham for a long time and playing for Gloucester, it took them time to warm to them. We had a decent side, but we had financial problems there. But I'd like to think that Gloucester fans probably saw me at the end of my career. But I played 41 games and scored 20 goals. And we finished, I think, in the bottom 6, so I did contribute with goals. But yeah, I wasn't the same player, age 30, that they remember, terrorising them for years. So yeah, it was slightly different. But no, my goal ratio stood up, so it was good enough. But no, they're good people, and they treated me well. They could have. But it was difficult times.
Yeah, and then after that season at Gloucester, can you just summarise what you've done since? Because you did play for a couple of other clubs, and you ended up coaching at Cleve as well, didn't you, for a while?
Yeah, I went back to Scotland. Me and my family moved back there. I thought it might be in the best interest to move back with my family, mum and dad and sisters. Didn't quite work out for personal reasons. So I moved back to Cheltenham, and both my children, basically live with me and still do. So I'm probably settled now. I obviously took some coaching courses at Cleve. We won promotion there. But again, the higher level you go, you've got to basically be a bit more committed. And I didn't want to let Bishop's Cleve down, so kind of left. And they've done it so well, but that was with Paul Colcott, who's obviously now at Yates.
Yeah. Have you ever had any offers to get involved in football again since, or have you been tempted to start coaching again?
No, to be fair, I think when you're out of the game for so long, people always like kind of would think, oh, you've been out of the game so long, but I played under some great managers, and I think that there is a job out there for me. I've been a coach, so I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want to manage. But no, I've not had any offers. I know the non-league scene, a lot. So if there was any offers, I would be happy to do that. But my job is, quite a relaxed job.
Yep.
My employers are good people. They know that, if I was offered a job, then I wouldn't look at it. But as it stands, no, nothing.
Yeah, let's have a quick chat about the current Cheltenham squad. So I know you've been to a couple of games this season, and obviously you played with Mark Yates for half the season in the conference, didn't you, when he joined? And what do you think of it? Because they've not had a great start, but what do you think about the sort of attitude of the fans at the moment with regard to Mark Yates?
I think that it's difficult because Mark said he said 4 or 5 good years, promotion, playoffs, good FA Cup runs, and sometimes fans will expect that. That's understandable. They pay their money, they're entitled to their opinion, but sometimes it doesn't work out for whatever reason. It's just not clicking for obviously Cheltenham at the moment. But they've sometimes just got to consolidate and accept what it is. But fans are fans, and they will continue to support the team when they're doing well. When it's not going well, you will get a minority who will complain, but that's part and parcel, and I'm sure Mark's aware of that. But he's done a fantastic job. You look at what he's done: FA Cup runs, Newcastle, West Ham. You can't complain. And if it's a season of consolidation, then it might have to be that. And look at next year. But he'll be looking at himself, and thinking, well, where's it gone wrong? Where can I improve it? He's not been in the job 5 years and not learned anything, and he'll be on the learning curve as well. But I've seen a couple of games. They're good players: Jamie Cheltenham, Terry Bonnell, McGlashan. Looks like Fernandes defensively. They've had 2 clean sheets now, so that's good. But I'm sure he'll sort it out, and he just needs a bit more time, and hence I say just a bit more patience.
Yeah, when you were playing for Cheltenham at first, everyone thought should be getting out of this league, should be in the conference, but nobody really suddenly expects you to kick on and get into the league so quickly. So it's still, do you think there's still sort of the town is still getting used to having a football league club, and more people establishing it itself?
Yeah, I think from the fans' point of view, it's been in the Football League now a while. And as I say, because we've had kind of promotions and playoffs, it's kind of what we expect, and me included, and when you're not up there, the first thing you do is say, what's wrong? Why are the players not performing? Is it the system? Is it the players? Is it the manager? And these questions, in any football club get answered, are questioned. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure he'll get it right, and I'm sure he'll be there for the long term, and I hope so, because he's done a decent job, Mark.
Yeah, did you get on well with him? And good.
Yeah. I mean, he was obviously a midfield player, and he played obviously in with Lee Howells, you had Russell Milton. Mark was a totally different player, fully committed, blood and thunder, and every club needs that, and obviously with the Hereford players that obviously Steve brought in. They gelled in well, and we had a really good squad, a really good team. But yeah, Mark was totally different to what we had.
Yep.
That going back to what I previously said, that's what we needed. We needed a little bit of strength, commitment from the previous teams we had. That kept finishing runners up. And that's what he gave us, and I'm sure he's still giving it as a manager now.
Yeah, and what's it like seeing quite a few of your old teammates involved now, isn't there? Jamie Victory's involved to the academy with Russell Milton, Neil Howarth you played with as well.
Yeah.
And Ian Weston even is the physio you played with at Torquay and Cheltenham. So.
It's good. I think it's good that the ex-players are there. Whether it's in a hospitality, capacity or whatever. They know the club, they know how it works, they know the people at Cheltenham, and they know the expectations. I think Cheltenham have learned lessons before when they've appointed managers, with big names, big reputations, and it's gone wrong. It is a small town, and you need to basically, get the right people around the manager, who can support them and knows how the kind of town works and what the fans expect. So yeah, I think it's good, and I think Ian's he's a fantastic physio. He was, and Neil, are close to Mark. So they'll know, how he's feeling at the moment and give him every support.
Yeah. Right, brilliant. Cheers, Jimmy. Thank you.
Okay, thank
Cheers.
you.